The Amazon. We think we know it. A vast emerald ocean of trees stretching across an entire continent. It's the planet's green lung, a place teeming with life, much of it still unknown to science. For centuries, we've called it the last great wilderness, a pristine and untouched Eden. We imagine scattered, isolated tribes living in harmony with nature, small bands of people dwarfed by the immense, unconquerable jungle. But what if that entire picture, the one we've held onto for 500 years, is a lie? What if the Amazon isn't a virgin wilderness at all? What if it's a garden, a landscape shaped by human hands on a scale we're only just beginning to comprehend? This isn't a place untouched by humanity. It's a graveyard, a civilization, vast and complex, rose here and vanished so completely the world forgot. The story we've been told, jungle too hostile, soil too poor, only small nomadic groups, but evidence is mounting, whispering from beneath the forest floor. Cities, kings, millions of people who called this rainforest home. They didn't just survive, they thrived. They built a world. Then, in the blink of an eye, it was gone. The illusion of an empty wilderness is powerful, a myth that protected one of the greatest archaeological secrets on Earth. The first hints of the Amazon's hidden world didn't come from scientists. They came from the fevered stories of the Spanish conquistadors, men like Francisco de Orellana in 1541, the first European to navigate the length of the Amazon River. He wasn't looking for scientific knowledge, he was looking for treasure gold spices, a mythical kingdom ruled by a golden king, El Dorado. His chronicles speak of incredible things, things that historians would later dismiss as fantasy. He described sailing for days past sprawling cities, encountering dense populations and witnessing a land that was heavily cultivated and managed. Orellana spoke of cities that gleamed white and of powerful chieftains who ruled over thousands. He described a warrior woman leading a fierce tribe which gave the river its name. The Amazon, his companion, Gaspar de Carvajal, wrote a detailed account of their journey, describing roads that led inland from the riverbanks. And large, well-organized villages that stretched for miles. They reported being under constant attack by huge numbers of warriors, suggesting a population far greater than anyone could imagine. But when later expeditions returned, they found nothing, just jungle. The stories were dismissed as lies, the exaggerations of desperate men trying to justify a failed quest for gold. These early explorers were chasing a myth, but they may have stumbled upon a reality far more astonishing. The legends of Paititi, another lost city of gold, fueled expeditions for centuries. Percy Fawcett, the famed British explorer, became obsessed with finding what he called the lost city of Z, a sophisticated stone metropolis he believed existed deep within the jungle of Brazil. He gathered accounts from local tribes, studied ancient documents, and was convinced he was on the verge of the greatest discovery of the age. In 1925, Fawcett, his son and their companion vanished without a trace, consumed by the very jungle they sought to conquer. Their disappearance only added to the mystery. The game changed with a technology called LIDAR. It stands for light detection and ranging. Think of it as a super-powered radar that uses laser beams instead of radio waves. From a plane or helicopter flying high above the canopy, a LIDAR device fires millions of laser pulses toward the ground every second. Most of these pulses hit the leaves and branches of the dense forest, but a precious few, find a path through the gaps and hit the forest floor. By measuring the time it takes for these laser points to return, a computer can create an astonishingly detailed three-dimensional map of the ground itself. Suddenly, the jungle was gone. With a few clicks of a mouse, archaeologists could digitally deforest the Amazon, and what they saw was breathtaking. It was the moment the ghost finally appeared in the photograph. Where the human eye saw only an undifferentiated sea of green, the LIDAR saw everything. The screen lit up with the unmistakable shapes of human engineering. It was a heart-stopping revelation, the kind of discovery that happens once in a generation. The legends, the whispers, the dismissed stories of the conquistadors. They weren't lies. They were true. All of them. What the LIDAR scans and subsequent archaeological digs are revealing a society of incredible sophistication. These were not simple hunter-gatherers. These were master landscape architects. In the Llanos de Mojos region of Bolivia, they built a massive water management system that covered an area larger than Belgium. They constructed thousands of miles of raised causeways, some perfectly straight for miles, connecting settlements and keeping them dry during the seasonal floods. They built canals to control the flow of water and reservoirs to store it for the dry season, creating a highly productive agricultural landscape in a place once considered untamable. Their settlements were highly organized. The LIDAR mapping of the Kasarabi culture, which flourished between 500 and 1400 AD, shows a form of low-density urbanism unlike anything seen before. Instead of one tightly packed city, they had two major centers complete with monumental earthen pyramids, U-shaped public structures, all enclosed by concentric moats. These large centers were then connected by a web of canals and causeways to a constellation of smaller, suburban-like sites that stretched for miles in every direction. It was a decentralized, sustainable cityscape perfectly adapted to the rainforest environment. The most paradigm-shifting revelation is not just the existence of these cities, but their sheer size and number. For decades, the prevailing estimate was low, perhaps 1 million people, maybe 2 at the most. These new discoveries are forcing a radical recalculation. The evidence now suggests the Amazon was home to a massive population, not in the thousands, but in the millions. Some archaeologists estimate between 8 and 10 million people. Think about what that means. 10 million is larger than pre-contact England. It implies social organization and food production staggering for a rainforest. Orellana's account of sailing past continuous settlements is no longer fiction. The LIDAR scans show it. If 10 million people lived in a network of cities across the Amazon, where did they all go? Why did their civilization collapse so suddenly and so completely that it was utterly forgotten? The evidence points to a catastrophe starting in 1492. The culprits were not swords and armor, but invisible invaders, European diseases, smallpox, measles, influenza. Illnesses that had been circulating in the Old World for centuries had given Europeans some level of immunity, but to the peoples of the Americas they were apocalyptic plagues. These diseases traveled faster than the explorers themselves. Passed along native trade routes, they would have raced up the Amazon River and its tributaries, reaching communities that had never even seen a European. The result would have been a biological holocaust. With no immunity, mortality rates could have reached 90% or even higher. Imagine a plague so swift and so deadly that 9 out of every 10 people you know are dead within a matter of months. Society would cease to function. There would be no one left to plant the fields, to maintain the canals, or to bury the dead. Climate change may have also played a role. Some evidence suggests prolonged droughts or floods could have put immense strain on their agricultural systems even before the arrival of disease. This would have weakened the population, making them even more susceptible to the coming plagues. It's also possible that centuries of warfare between competing city-states had already destabilized the region, leaving the civilization fractured and vulnerable when the final blow fell. It was likely not one single event, but a cascade of disasters. But disease was almost certainly the final decisive factor. Within a few generations, a population of millions was reduced to a few scattered, traumatized survivors. These survivors, the ancestors of the Amazon's modern indigenous tribes, fled deep into the forest, abandoning the cities of their ancestors. Their complex social structures collapsed, their history was lost, and their world was erased. They carried with them a fragmented memory of their past, stories that would eventually be woven into the legends of golden cities and great kings, the very legends that would later be dismissed as myths. The silence that fell over the Amazon was the silence of mass death. With the engineers gone and the farmers gone, the jungle's reclamation was swift and absolute. We are living in the golden age of Amazonian archaeology. The discoveries made in the last decade have rewritten the history books. We have only scratched the surface. The LIDAR scans have given us a map, but it is a map to a ghost world. Now the real work begins. Archaeologists must follow this map on the ground, hacking through dense undergrowth, excavating the sites the lasers revealed. Each dig, each soil sample, each pottery shard adds a piece to the puzzle of who these people were. The area to be explored is immense. Less than 1% of the Amazon has been LIDAR scanned. Who knows what else is waiting to be found? There could be cities even larger than the ones already discovered. There could be different cultures, different architectural styles, different technologies. We are like 16th century explorers. With a map to a new continent, every expedition could change everything we know. We are at the very beginning of this story. This new knowledge carries a heavy responsibility. The Amazon is under threat. Deforestation, mining, agriculture. With every acre burned, we risk losing more lost history. The race is on to map and study sites before bulldozers obliterate them. We can uncover this civilization's secrets, but we also risk overseeing its second and final death. So what other secrets does the jungle hold? We have found cities of Earth, Percy Fawcett's lost city of Z, a city of stone. Could it still be out there, hidden in a remote, unexplored valley? Did some of these cultures develop writing? Could we one day find a text that tells their history in their own words? The Amazon guarded its secrets for 500 years. Now it is slowly beginning to give them up. For every answer, the jungle poses a dozen new questions. The deepest, darkest secrets may still lie buried beneath the canopy. Uncover the shocking truth in America before The Key to Earth's Lost Civilization by Graham Hancock. Order your copy from Amazon today.